in reflecting on some of my personal experiences as well as talking with others and reading more about racial discrimination and other related topics, I was able to distill the feedback and the advice that I would give others down to 5 steps that one might consider taking in order to better approach and armor themselves for issues of discrimination in the workplace as a minority. Step 1 is find what you are willing to fight for. That doesn't always have to be the job that you're willing to fight for or the title that you're willing to fight for, but it could also be something like your family or building a family or a particular skill or hobby that is important to you. Step 2 is know your industry and organization. By that I mean is every organization and even every industry has something of an ethos or a general preconception or a culture around how to identify, discuss, or extrapolate on topics such as diversity and inclusion, and therefore implicitly discrimination and issues of discrimination. And when I say know that, know what you are walking into, if it is a culture that you can align with and identify with, because I feel like that is probably key and critical for you to feel like you belong and like it's a place that you would like to grow as an individual and as a professional. Step 3 is know the system in which you're working. By that I mean that there are some larger private sector organizations that have a particular approach to handling issues of discrimination that may come up in the workplace. There are formal reporting processes, there are labor unions that may get involved. In the public sector, things can be different, especially in larger or even mid-sized corporations, things can be very different. And in smaller, small, medium-sized business groups or even the nonprofit sector, things can be different. There may be less resources internally, but there are always resources externally. I believe these resources may vary state by state. One that is kind of an umbrella, well-known organization specifically positioned to assist workers in issues of discrimination is the Equal Employment Opportunity Council. And I think it's important for everyone to know that these resources exist and that, should things get to a point where it might be important to assert yourself for your own well-being and for that of the community, to really proceed accordingly, according to the system in which you are working. Step 4 is there is strength in community, but specifically in authentic connection. And I think we feel maybe that this might be more possible outside of the workplace with our friends, with our family, with our partner and our other loved ones, but it is also possible within the workplace. And I think having those conversations eventually with people that you begin to feel warmly towards, your coworkers whom you are working with, it's important to kind of broach some of those conversations and to even talk about, microaggressions that might come up in your own organization. Not to say that office gossip is important, but I think positioned in a way with integrity and with well intentions, I think having these conversations can be very helpful, not just for yourself, but also for the work culture in which you are living. The last thing is there is power in persistence, which sort of comes back to my original point in finding what you're willing to fight for. We talk about failure in a particular light, typically related to failing a test or having to pivot in an early stage venture or or in a particular project that isn't going so well? Should you be working on something at work that is maybe new or innovative or challenging? But I think that mentality of how to overcome failure is very integral to a mentality of persistence, which is that you will find the right place for you and the right community for you and the right place of employment. And it's not necessary for you to tolerate or muscle through or sit with uncomfortable or even just bad feelings. There is more out there, and it's important to continue to try to find it and to also find what works for you holistically and how to give that to yourself with regards to the lifestyle you are after and just your general sense of well-being.